Hey folks, it's just me, your friendly neighborhood Walter Shepherd. Um, this is just another informal chat about about myself, a little bit of history. Nothing really biblical that I'm going to talk about, although I'll probably digress onto something, as I usually do. Um, where did I leave off last time? I was born in Saskatchewan, a native. My dad was full blood. My mom was half Cree, half German. So lucky me, I get to shave. As you noticed, I've shaved off all the facial hair, which is good because sometimes I get a little tired of it. But anyway, I come from a family of five. I'm the eldest. I have three brothers and one sister. And we lost our dad when I was about 9 or 10. He died. And by then we had moved to Ontario. And my mom, an amazing woman, Glenda, she was a single mom. She raised the five of us kids in the 60s and 70s. And that was back before they had all those social programs. So she was always a hardworking mom. And she taught us to work hard. Our grandmother, my mom's mom, she was also a hard-working woman too. So that got passed along to our family. And our family, my brothers and sisters, we've always excelled wherever we worked. Within a year, within 6 months, we were always getting raises. We were always getting promotions. And so I thank the good Lord for my family bloodline that taught us to work hard. That's my family, brothers and sisters. Let's see. And I left the farm. I moved to Calgary. How do I start? Where do I start from? Okay, my mom got remarried in 1977. And that's when she also became a born-again believer. And then the family moved up north, northern Alberta, about 3 or 4 hours west of Edmonton. So that's quite a ways from the American border. Anyway, it was in a place. It was in the middle of the sticks. We actually homesteaded. We lived in a cabin and a trailer while we cleared the land and built a nice 2-story house that we eventually all lived in. And then in grade 12, or in the summer between grade 11 and grade 12, I got tired of living out in the country. So I moved. I left the farm and I moved back to Calgary, and I finished grade 12 in Calgary. A couple of years later, when I was working at Sears, I met an amazing woman, a nice girl, Paige, who I eventually married. And with Paige, we got a son. Sadly, during the 80s, my Christian walk was not that solid, so I ended up chasing away my wife and my son, or chasing away my wife and losing my son, which was very sad. It was very hard on me. But that was a long time ago. Paige and I remained friends. We still love each other, although we're not in love with each other. So it wasn't a real harsh kind of conflicting kind of divorce. So we're still on good terms, Paige and I. And out of that, we got my amazing son, Christopher, or Chris, as he would prefer to be called. And he's given me 2 grandchildren, Desmond and Annika. Annika is about 5 years old, and Desmond, I believe he's got his first girlfriend, so he's around 14 or 15 now. So yeah, things have sure changed a lot in my life. Like I said, during the 80s, I wasn't that too great a Christian. My Christian walk was kind of questionable. here or there. But in the 90s, January 1st, 1990, I rededicated my life to the Lord, recommitted my life to the Lord, and things have been going strong ever since. Although I've never backslidden, but at the same time, I developed a personal habits here and there. Nothing major, just kind of distractions in my life. But again, in all my distractions, if you will, or in all my sins, if you will, I never left the Lord. I never abandoned Him. I never stopped praying. I never stopped reading the Bible. It was just, the Lord took me through it. I carried the Lord through it. I'm not the kind of person that if I get involved in worldly distractions, I don't throw the Lord away and just indulge. I deal with my distractions, my habits, but I take the Lord with me because He's the only one that can help me through them, or He's the only one that has been helping me through my times of distraction, because I haven't always been the best example of a Christian, but I haven't been the worst either. It's on about 96. Actually, if I could backtrack for a while. If you look in the playlists, you'll see a series of videos that I posted. 4 videos talking about all the visions and dreams and all the supernatural events that have been going on throughout my life since I was a teenager. They would come and go here and there, and those events, those visions, those dreams, when they would come, they would reinforce my relationship with the Lord. And then about 1996, that's when I started getting visions and dreams and supernatural occurrences big time. And they've been happening ever since. Not regularly, but consistently. Again, they're nothing that I can control. They happen when they happen. And I just, well, as you can see over the past 4 years, if you go back in the videos or even in the playlists, I've listed all the dreams that I've had, some warning dreams. I've even had a rapture dream as well, which I thought was kind of cool. But that was the last real, well, no. I've had other supernatural occurrences since then. There were 3 major ones, and for any critics out there or any opposers, I don't consider myself a prophet, not at all, not in the least. I do not want that office. I've stated this many times over the past few years. I don't consider myself a prophet. That's too much responsibility. That's too much accountability for me. I'm a strong Christian, but I'm not that strong. I am certainly not a David Wilkerson or any of those other strong Christians that get a lot of visions all the time. The visions that I get, or the dreams that I get, I post as they happen. Let's see if I can. The one rapture dream that I had, I've posted this before, but it was pretty amazing when it happened. There was a series of 3 occurrences that happened in the dream. So I guess this is more or less just a reiteration of my rapture dream. And to reiterate again, no, I don't consider myself a prophet. In my younger years, in my 20s and 30s, I would get a lot of visions. And in my latter years, over the past 10 years especially, I've been getting a lot of dreams. So I'm one of those Acts 2:16, 2:17 kind of people. When I get visions, I talk about them, I post them. When I get dreams, I post them. And and talk about them. Anyway, that rapture dream that I had, I remember in the dream I was at a friend's house, and we were all barbecuing. It felt like it was summertime, late summer. And no, I'm not setting any particular date or any particular season for when I believe the rapture is going to happen. Because again, we have no idea. I believe I saw this dream through somebody else's eyes. And even though it felt like late summer, I'm not saying that that's when it was. But this could have taken place anywhere in North America. So I'm not giving any particular season. But anyway, I was with a bunch of people. And the evening was coming. And then all of a sudden we heard these great big booms, these great big sounds. They sounded like thunderous jets flying overhead. So we ran out to the front yard, and this is what I saw. I saw these things flying overhead. These whirlwinds. They were glowing, and they were making lots of noise. Because I believe they were breaking the sound barrier when they would first appear. I discovered that they end up, these things, these trails of fire, these pillars of fire, I discovered later on that they were whirlwinds, and I'll get into that in a second. So anyway, I looked down the street, and I could see more of those things flying overhead, and there were people coming out of their houses looking around at the noise and what was going on. And there was these little sparklings flying around. There were these glowing things. They were really bright, but they were really tiny, and they were flying all over the place. And I've done a video on the sparklings as well, and I will get into that, but not at this time, because it takes some explanation. And anyway, the third image in the dream is I turned around from the neighborhood, and I looked towards the downtown core. And this is what I saw in the dream. I could see the Lord off in the distance, and everything was getting closer. I could see the rapture cloud, and there's thousands and millions of people glowing in the cloud. The top cloud protruding, sending out all these whirlwinds all over the place, and all these sparklings still flying around and exploring the place. So that's just a reiteration of the rapture dream. And since then, that was about 2 years ago. Since then, I've had a number of physical, supernatural things. And again, I've posted them. But you can look in the playlists. And just to let you all know, because there's always a critic out there that always brings it up. They always said, "Oh, but you date set it once, and you labeled some dates, and nothing came of it." Blah 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 blah. And yes, that's true. I did have a number of dreams, 3 dreams in particular, that gave specific days, but they were not for the rapture. I've reiterated in the dream many times that they were not dates for when the rapture was going to happen. In fact, they were dates of when I believe the tribulation was going to start. And I still believe that those dates are specific. I just don't know what year they're going to happen. They could be happening in this year or next year, or the year after, or 10 years from now. There was a day in September when the tribulation started, where the Antichrist and the one world people were starting to gather everybody. And then in October, there was another event where some of the believers were starting to get rounded up into camps. And then the following February is when there's a tsunami event. And within the dream, the voice said the tsunami, the fake tsunami, which is a nuclear detonation that causes a tsunami, happens after the rapture. So again, I wish I knew exactly when these things were going to happen, but again, we have no idea. We just have to be ready at all times. Because just because I have these dreams and these dates doesn't mean that it's going to happen, because like I said, I am not a prophet. How these dreams occurred or why they occurred, I have no idea. Personally, I believe what had happened was a kind of Jonah effect. When I posted that tsunami dream over that year, I believe a lot of people saw it because I was one of hundreds and hundreds of people that were posting tsunami dreams. So I believe out of that time, a lot of non-believers, they repented. I believe, and I believe a lot of Christians got their relationship back in order with the Lord. So I believe the Lord did, in this day and age, what he did with Nineveh. That the tribulation was going to happen last year or the year before that, but because people repented, the Lord put it off, just like he did in Nineveh. In Nineveh, when Jonah preached to them, the people repented, so the Lord put off the calamity for some time later. So I believe that that's what had happened. The tribulation was going to occur or start up a number of years ago, but people repented, so the Lord was merciful, and he put off his wrath a little bit longer, which means also putting off the rapture a little bit longer, which is good because then more people get into heaven and there are fewer people left behind. So anyway, I kind of digressed, but that's my personal, a bit of my personal history, a bit of my a testimony. I could go into a lot more detail, but I see the time is coming to an end in my 20-minute videos. So I guess that's about it. If anybody has any questions or comments about anything, or if you want me to answer any questions, I will do so to the best of my ability. So I guess that's it for now. So be a blessing wherever you are in internet land and YouTube world, because the world needs it. Be an encouragement to the people around you, believers and non-believers. So we will see you all at the Eastgate meetup. Alrighty? So take care, stay in prayer. We will see you in Jesus' kingdom somewhere over there, or we will see you somewhere up in the air. Alrighty, remember, Jesus rules.